It was 5 years ago that the Washington Post referred to Ghost Recon Breakpoint as the worst game of 2019. And at the time of release, honestly, they weren't completely off the mark. Fans were upset, and reviews seemed to echo a lot of the discontent they had, citing a multitude of issues. There was a grand dismissal from many gamers for this game, dubbing it a failure due to its problematic launch, and it seemed like Breakpoint just faded away. But 5 months later, something changed. We saw a big update, bringing immersive mode to Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which, amongst giving you a vast amount of control over your world and tactical perimeters, it also would let you play without gear score or tiered loot, as well as allowing vast customization of the HUD in a way that I've honestly not seen on a scale like this before in any Ghost Recon title. Fast forward from the end of 2021 to present day, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but Ghost Recon Breakpoint has officially peaked. And despite all the DLC being pretty decent, in particular the free Operation Motherland DLC, I'd not say that's the reason for my saying so. At least not the only reason. In the past year alone, the amount of mods for Ghost Recon Breakpoint has doubled. From around 300 to 400, now quickly surpassing 800 recently, and that number's well on its way to 900 as I make this video. To say that there's been a surge of interest in the modding community would be a big understatement. Modders have done everything from removing headshot and body sound effects to create a more immersive feel, to removing visuals of tracers and smoke trails, so you're relying more on what you hear and not on the direction of a tracer round to determine where your enemy is. There's a vast array of visual updates, offering all types of camo and custom rigs for your character, to even importing assets from other games such as Call of Duty, Ready or Not, or so I'm told, and more. There are even people working on changing how the weather works in the game. There's a first-person mod that is fully functional, and the crazy thing is that I think modding is only really getting started. So while I think we're at peak Breakpoint right now, who knows where we'll be by the end of this year. Which is why today I'll be showcasing what I believe to be my favourite and arguably the best mods to try with Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Then I'm going to break down those top 10 mods going from number 10 to my number 1 go-to. And finally, I'll be wrapping the video with the easiest to follow guide on getting started with modding Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Trust me, it's easier than you think. I really think we're looking at the beginning of a modding revolution
for Breakpoint. Don't you think, Oxide? I think you're right.
Just before we dive in though, I want to say thank you to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, and it's available now for free on PC and consoles. With over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships, in dynamic combined PvP battles. Every vehicle is incredibly detailed and modeled down to the individual components, which offers a highly immersive combat experience. The collection of vehicles in War Thunder spans from the 1920s to present day. The mechanics are impressive, featuring one of the most dynamic and detailed vehicle damage models in gaming. Instead of general hit points, vehicles suffer actual damage to their components and crew, and a damage X-ray shows exactly what happens to you or your enemy's vehicle as it's damaged or destroyed. Click the link in the description to play War Thunder for free today and receive a massive bonus pack for new and returning players of at least 6 months, which gives multiple premium vehicles and an exclusive vehicle decorator. Okay, let's get on with the video, shall we?
Okie dokie. You sitting Overwatch, huh? Yeah. Nice view up here. Fair. Don't be worrying. The only thing I worry about are your dad jokes. Worried about or jealous of? Yes. Okay. We got 1 2 guards at the front here. Copy. Just down by the river. Gonna grab some water and push up the other side by the bank. Copy. I'm glad you're staying hydrated. Just call me water boy. It's too cold. How's it looking up there? Pretty quiet. I got a shot from this guy on the bridge from the gate. Hold on a second. spotted? Yeah. Well, snap. I'm almost up at the front gate. Wanna take that guy? Absolutely. Taking the shot. He's done. Copy. Pushing up. I'm gonna push to the left here of this big rock. Up to the metal container. Copy that. I see you. You're good. See the pillbox? Way over to the left? I see it. I got it. He's done. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. I'm in. 3 down. Drone operator down at the front gate. Gonna push to the right-hand side. Copy. Pillbox front side is done. Copy that. 2 more down. Another 2 down. You're on a roll, man. Pillbox back inside. To the corner. Copy that. I saw that. The old shot district? Yep. Definitely wasn't a miss. Definitely wasn't a miss. Okay, I'm pushing it a bit closer. Copy. Just gonna check in here for supplies. Looking around. It seems too quiet. I'm almost positive there's a patrol of 2 just up ahead of me. Copy that. I'm gonna flank hard on the right and try to push up to the sniper in the pillbox. He's at the very back side. Yeah, I couldn't get an eye on him. That's okay, I got him. Roads are busy here today. Yeah? Making any friends? Not yet. Not yet. Looking clear. I'm coming in back side. I'm in. Copy that. Okay. Sniper down. And a breacher, I think. Close shave? Yeah, close shave, man. I think that's all the patrols. Alright, I'm shutting the county down. Copy. Can you get an x-ray on this building here? Yeah, Gibson's inside. Okay. I'm pushing in.
transit. A convoy's on its way here.
Alright, well, when you guys are done with your GF, I'm in the chopper. So, get a move on. Just about to hit the hideout. Be out in a second.
If I find out you gave me bad intel, we're gonna see each other again. And I'm not gonna be civil.
I put him to sleep. Come on. Stop dilly-dallying. Get on the chopper. Alright. Mission accomplished.
Oh, we're when you get started.
Fair enough.
Hopefully you enjoyed that, and hopefully you got a taster of some of these mods in action. But now I'd like to break down what I believe are the top 10 best mods, at least for me, when playing Ghost Recon Breakpoint. So I'm using a few different masks. One that you'll know pretty well, the Simon Ghost Riley mask, which replaces the Spetsnaz balaclava. There's nothing much to say about this, except that it looks incredible. This is an asset actually imported from Modern Warfare 2. Not sure how they've done that, but it is amazing. And one of the other masks I replaced was the Sniper balaclava using the Misk Icon gear pack, and I believe it is the Lion's mask. It just changes it into an amazing looking balaclava, in my opinion, and yeah, I'm a big fan of it. Before I move on, I actually just want to do an honourable mention to the Flolly Boys Gear Assortments pack. While it is a great pack, I don't like mixing it with the packs that are coming up, but there is one part of it I love, and it's this backpack that replaces the armored backpack. It's just got a cool look to it, and yeah, I just like to have it in no matter what I'm doing. It's just that one thing from that pack that I'm obsessed with. The XRK MVGs actually don't just add in those MVGs you've seen in the mission, but they add in this battery pack and accessories to the back of the helmet to pretty much all but one of the MVG headsets. You'll see in the bottom right there, that one doesn't have it, but the rest of them seem to have this battery pack that attaches to your helmet no matter what helmet you're using. So you don't actually have to use the XRK MVGs to have that look. I think that's such a cool little addition. You know, it becomes more than just you're installing one set of MVGs. You're installing an accessory for all of the MVGs that you use, and it just looks really nice, I think. This mod is known as OpsCore Amp Pack, and what it does is it adds in improved OpsCore amp headset models and variants depending on what helmet you're wearing. So I'm wearing the OpsFor helmet here. I think it works with most of them, and you can see if you're wearing no OpsFor headset at all, it actually flips the headset onto the back of the helmet, which is really cool. This only works with a handful of helmets, but I think again that's good, so you don't have to always use this. And you can see it works with some of the OpsFor helmets and some of the Team Wendy helmets. You can see the two exfil ones here. It works with them, but not with the other two on the right. And yeah, pretty straightforward. Looks really nice. I really dig it. The Cry AVS and Cry JPC loaded mods replace multiple variants of the Cry JPC and Cry AVS vests in your inventory. And you can see here it also gives you a backpack, so you don't actually even need a backpack when using these. I just love how detailed they are. Obviously they're super chunky, and you can see here in customization, it's a lot of detail going on, and it just seems to be nicely set up. I know there's other mods like Choose Your Loadout where you can completely customize things, but I'd rather just have something that looks nice that I can put on and I can just set it and forget it. And this is really quite nice for that. It's also like 6 vests total, which doesn't get in the way of the other vests I like to use by default. And you can also patch in ways to remove the backpack if you don't want a backpack, and also change the patches that are on it. I've just put in a default non-patch for this, as you can see. And you can change all of the colors easily, no problem, on all of it pretty much. But it leaves some of the key components the color that they are in game, which I actually really appreciate. For the most part, I'm not really bothered about how Sentinel or the Bodox look, but the Wolves, I just don't like how they look. And the Shadow Company for Wolves mod helps a lot with that. It creates just something that looks just a bit more pleasing on the eye. And you can see here 2 wolves patrolling, and they're decked out like proper Shadow Company. Definitely prefer this over how the wolves actually look. The mod that removes the hit marker and headshot sounds so you don't hear any body hits or headshots is incredibly awesome. And actually, if you don't have a PC, you can technically still do this, albeit it will turn off other sounds. just simply reduce your UI volume to 0 or near 0, and it will reduce the sounds of the body shots and the headshot sound effects. However, this just takes out those sounds in particular if you add this mod in, which lets you keep in other things like the sound of changing the firing mode of your gun and whatnot, which honestly I find really useful to keep. I've shown this at the start, but the tracer and smoke trail removal mod is fantastic. You can just take away things like this, and not only does it take away the tracers from your own shots, but from enemy shots as well. And it just creates a different sense of where are those shots coming from, where am I taking cover, and where am I shooting back to. Highly recommend this one. So this effectively is part of the Spartan mod. It's the Spartan UI part of it. And amongst other things, it can remove the actual blast radius and warning circles that you see on the ground if you're being blasted by artillery or about to be flashed or grenaded or even hit with EMP. And you can see there was no red circle on the ground at any point. And that's the same for the flashbang and the EMP. And even you can see here, artillery gets called in and there's nothing on the ground. I know it's coming for me. I know it's going to try and hit where I was, but there's no warning on the ground. It's just something I'm really happy to have been able to remove. Using reshades is one of those things that I think some people don't really realize is not intended to be intrusive or over the top. It can be just adding a bit of extra detail or just a bit more atmosphere to an already atmospheric game. You can see here I'm toggling on and off one of the Metalhead reshades from a newly updated, as of just this week, preset pack from the Mercs Assassin. I've been helping him test some of this stuff over the past few months, and this has got to be my favorite one. This is the Cool Vivid preset, and you can see here I've brought up the reshape menu, and I'm just going through some of the new ones and some of the old ones as well. And you can turn things off, so like if you don't like certain things like, you know, the sharpening or film grain or chromatic aberration or the depth of field, you just go into the menu and you check it off, and it'll save it and remember it for next time whenever you're using it. It's a very nice program to have. 9 times out of 10, I don't open this menu for months at a time because I'm pretty much set in what I'm using. And I actually just set some hotkeys to shuffle through the presets if I want to. Between the Metalhead reshades and the one Survivor reshade, which I'll also link below, I'm pretty much set. I've tried the other ones, but these ones are pretty much my favorites. There are some in here that are maybe a bit more extreme than others and give a bit of a more deadened look that suits different environments. But I really love Metalhead's all-rounders that it has, as well as the kind of cinematic warmth that comes in the Survivor one as well. And yeah, it's very easy to set up, and it is a lot of fun to see your game just like pop and come alive visually like this. Best of all, you really don't need an insane computer. I think people think that you need like a absolutely crazy computer. You only need a crazy computer if you're going to be running lots of the depth of field stuff and really heavy duty effects in the reshade, but these are all pretty light and made with as many different rigs in mind as possible. If you're sitting with a high 20 series, mid 30 series kind of card, you're probably going to be fine. I obviously have an overkill computer, so it doesn't affect me at all. But yeah, just keep that in mind. If you're having trouble, just come into the menu and switch off depth of field stuff, and that should hopefully help with a lot of performance. Love it or hate it, the first person mod has to be the biggest visual change to this game. And I know some people just don't like the idea, but as someone who came from DayZ in particular, this feels very similar to that, and I really love it. I do. There are a few other things that come with it. The depth of field blur fix, which in the Wildlands version, you just switched off depth of field in the game. And the other fix being the close quarter combat camera, which you can take in or out of the game depending on what you're going to be doing. But it's a real experience, and I've enjoyed playing it so much. I know some of you love it and I know some of you hate it, but either way, I think it has a place in the Ghost Recon franchise. Maybe not the only perspective, but at least an option. Just saying. Okay, let's get started on showing you the basics of modding Ghost Recon Breakpoint. And like I said, it's easier than you think. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need is the pre-September 20th patch forge files. That's a mouthful, but it's simply a pair of forge files which we're going to modify the game with. If you do use these and you try to matchmake, you're probably not going to be able to do it with randoms on PC. However, if you're grouping up with people in modding communities on Discords or whatever who are also using the pre-patch forge files, you shouldn't have any trouble jumping into each other's games. Speaking of which, I've just opened my own Discord, which is not just for Ghost Recon lovers, but game lovers in general. So hopefully you can find some like-minded individuals over there. But if you've no intention of playing with other people, or the people you're going to play with already mod, then you're good. Now, the second thing you're going to need to download is Anvil Toolkit, and this is the toolkit that will help us modify Ghost Recon Breakpoint. And of course, you need a free account on nexusmods.com, so if you're not able to download, that's probably why. But simply grab both of these and put them in a folder somewhere. Doesn't matter where. And the third thing I'd like you to grab are these individual build tables. Simply go to this page and download each of these main files, and we'll be using them later in the video. Alright, with the contents of the Anvil Toolkit zip in a folder, we're going to open up Anvil Toolkit itself, and we're going to head into the settings straight away. There's just one thing we need to change in here on the Files tab, and that's unchecking Use Compression. Once we've done that, hit OK and double click Ghost Recon Breakpoint. At this point, it's going to ask you to find your executable. That might be GRBXE or it might be the Uplay Plus version. After you've done that, just try and double click it again, generate that game file list, and now we're almost ready to start modding. Now you'll remember those pre-patch forge files you downloaded, right? Well, if you right click in Anvil Toolkit and hit open containing folder, that's going to bring us into the Ghost Recon Breakpoint root folder. That is where we're going to drag those forge files we downloaded to replace the ones we have in here. Now click the refresh button here and then head down to the patch forge file and the resources patch forge file and just right click and unpack each of these. Whenever you unpack it, it's going to put you inside the forge file. Just use this up button to get back into the root folder and simply do the same for the resources patch forge file. Now you'll see there's an extracted folder and a backups folder, and we're currently in the extracted one. This is the folder that has the forge files you're going to modify. And once you modify these, what we tend to do is we repack them into the folder above this, and it overwrites the forge files that Ghost Recon is going to use, thereby modifying your game. That's how it works. Now, remember the individual build tables I had you download? Well, you're going to install each of these one by one. And I'm just going to show you an example for one of them, but it will be the same process for all of the individual build tables. So with the zip file open that you've downloaded, head into individual build tables, and you'll see a folder called main. Head into here, and you're going to see build tables. Who would have thunk it? What you're going to want to do next is head into extracted, and this should now be extracted into here, your patch 01 forge file, and you'll head into here as well. Inside here, you may not have these folders yet, but you will in a second, because you're going to type in teammate in the top right hand corner, and then you're simply going to click unpack teammate template.data. Now I've already done it, so now I'm going to have an extracted and a backup of that data file. And if I head into extracted here within my patch forge file, I'm going to see it right there. Double click into here and you're going to see a lot of build tables in here. That should be a good sign that you're in the right place. Now you can navigate to this folder through Windows Explorer, which I like to do personally. And then simply highlight all the build table files in this zip file, drag them in. And if it needs to be replaced, it gets replaced. After this, in Anvil Toolkit, you're going to click on up. And at this point here, while you're still in the extracted folder, which is inside the patch forge file, you're going to right click this teammate template data file and you're going to repack that. Now up here you'll see it's reading files, and it might take a little bit longer for some files than others. There we have it, it's already finished repacking. We can click up again and up one more time, and then simply right click on the patch forge file and hit repack. Now what that's done is it's overwritten the forge file in our Ghost Recon root directory, which we can see right here. And that means when you launch Ghost Recon Breakpoint, it's going to look at this now modified forge file and use whatever you put inside it. And that's generally what we'll be doing with all of these mods. Okay, that should be you ready to start modding. Now I'm going to show you some examples of installing mods that you will likely want to use. To download the tracer and smoke trail removal mod, head to this page here and into the files tab, and then download the one that requires Anvil. Once you've downloaded that, open it up. You might need 7-zip to do so. And in the folder, you're going to see these two files right here. Now, if we head into Explorer and go to Extracted, in the Resources patch, and we're going to drag these files into the Forge folder on the right, then hit that refresh button we showed earlier in Anvil Toolkit, and right-click the Forge file to repack it. And if you've done that, congratulations, you've just modded Ghost Recon Breakpoint, maybe for the first time. For this mod, we're going to head to this page right here and go to the Files tab. And what you want to download is this file right here. So just click on Manual Download and it should download fairly quickly. Now inside this 7-zip file, you'll see this file right here. Simply head into Sound Data over in your Ghost Recon root folder into PC. But simply drag this in and replace that, and that should take away the hit markers and body sounds in the game. To get rid of the red blast radius, EMP, flashbang warning circles that you see on the ground, simply head over to this page here. And we're not actually going to be using the main Spartan mod. We're just going to be using the UI mod. So head on to the Files tab and download it here. Once you've downloaded the zip for the Spartan UI mod and opened it up, simply drag everything in here and drag them into your Ghost Recon Breakpoint root folder. Once everything has been put into your Ghost Recon root folder, you're going to see shader fixes and shader fixes details. If you head into shader fixes details, it'll basically have on the end of each of these text files an explanation of what that file does in shader fixes. And you can see right here, there's one that says 90BD, etc. And that disables the blast radius effect, the red circle on the ground. So we don't need to touch any of these. These are just explanations. But if we head into shader fixes, and there is that 90BDF file, that's the one we want. I'm going to highlight the rest and delete them. Leave that in there. And when you launch the game next time, you're not going to see any blast radiuses. Simple as that. Okay, the next thing we're going to install is the Simon Ghost Rally mask from Modern Warfare 2. And when you download that zip file, it should look like this when you open it. Just head into here and it's actually going to tell you where you should be putting all of this stuff. You can already see this is quite familiar. We've already looked at this and we've worked in it. So we're going to click into here and it's going to give us a build table. Then over in Windows Explorer, within our Ghost Recon Breakpoint root folder, we're going to head into Extracted, head into Patch, Extracted again, and there it is, the teammate template data folder. We're just going to drag it over into here. Hit replace. Then within Anvil Toolkit, go into your Extracted folder, into Patch Forge, Extracted again, right click on teammate, hit repack. Move up twice. So we're back to this point, right click on patch and hit repack. And what that does is it overwrites the same file in a directory above it. So if you understand what that means, then that should hopefully make all this make a lot more sense. And with the XRK MVGs, the Arachnid ones I'm using, I'll head into here and I can see main and resources. So main folders tend to be put into the patch forge in some way or other. So if I go into here, I can see build tables, and the build tables for this, which it tells you on the mod page anyway, go into the teammate template data folder. So we drag these over into here, hit replace, and yet again, I'm coming into here on Anvil Toolkit, right clicking on teammate template data, repacking it. Once it's finished, I come up and I repack the patch forge file as well. Now there's two folders in here, of course. There's the resources folder as well. So if we come into here, we have a bunch of data files, and they're simply going to go into our resources patch forge folder over here in our extracted folder. Double click on that, highlight all of this, drag it all in, replace it if it wants to. Then all you actually need to do at this point is right click resources patch and repack it. Once that's done, you should have the Ghost mask now installed, as well as the XRK MVGs. If you're wanting to grab this balaclava that I showed earlier on, or this awesome backpack, these are in two different packs, but you only need to pull out the singular files from each. This one's in the Misk Icon Gear Pack, and the backpack is in the Flawley Boys Gear Assortments. To get the balaclava, you want to come into the Miscellaneous Icon Gear Pack, and we're going to find particular files within each of the main and the resources folder. So in the main folder, you only want these files here that say Balaclava Sniper in them. Simply drag these build table files into your teammate template data. You've done it before, you know how to do it. Come into your patch forge file, into extracted, repack that teammate template data, come back out, repack the patch forge file, and then come up again into your resources folder within the same Miscellaneous Icon Gear Pack. And I know it says a lot of balaclavas in here, but don't worry, you only need this right here, the Balaclava Sniper Nomad. We come back up to the extracted folder, and inside the resources patch forge folder, drag that in, then repack your resources patch forge, and that should be you set up with this Balaclava right here. Now, if you want to install this backpack and only this backpack, simply open up the main files you downloaded from Flolly Boy's Gear Assortments and go into backpacks. Surprise, surprise. In here, it's going to say drop file within teammate template. Don't necessarily drop this in, head into it, and you're going to highlight all of the things that say armored on them. There's only 3. Go into patch, extracted, teammate, drag these over, hit replace, go into patch in Anvil Toolkit, extracted, and we don't need to go into teammate, we just need to right click it and repack it. Come up twice, right click patch and repack it. And I would advise you always go into the game after you've made any changes. Don't make loads and loads of changes and then wonder why something's not quite right. Make one change, load the game up, and see if the thing you changed is working properly. Anvil Toolkit does back up a lot of your stuff, but I actually also prefer to back up the folders from the extracted folder into here, and I tend to update them every time I make a change. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it there, but if you're looking for the reshade installation guide, I haven't put it in this video because honestly the one on the Nexus page for Metalhead Reshade and Survivor are so good, I couldn't do a better job than that. So follow those guides, and if that's still a bit confusing, I'll put a video in the description that gives you the basics of installing Reshade. So check that out. In addition to that, I put a couple more of the tutorials that aren't in this video for free over on my Patreon. You don't even need to be a member. I don't even think you need to have a Patreon account. And you can watch both of them there. That will help you with the Shadow Company for Wolves and all of the first person mods. Thank you if you've watched this far, and as a little experiment, maybe leave a comment saying, I like fish and chips. That'll let me know you got to the end of this video, and I do appreciate your time. So thank you again, and I'll see you guys maybe in the Discord. Who knows? One more thing, don't forget to use my link in the description to play War Thunder for free today on PC and consoles. And if you do, you'll receive a free bonus pack that includes multiple premium vehicles, a premium account, an exclusive 3D decorator for your vehicles, and a whole lot more. Hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching. Bye.